is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico de Haan and Paige Clark.
Good morning. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to our more balanced and natural wild world to recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. Good morning. I'm Nico de Haan. And it's a beautiful morning in downtown St. Petersburg. It's 66 degrees, partly cloudy, going up to about 79 today. So we're back into where it's normal temperatures now. All week it's going to be around 79, 80 degrees during the day, and maybe in the 60s at night. So it's kind of nice for us. Spring break is upon us again. So for the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to have inundated with a lot of people, but that's the way it is down here. And this is when a lot of people make money tourist-wise, and we have a lot of people visiting restaurants and things like that, so keep our economy going. So that's a good thing, we think. I'd like to remind you, of course, that Paige is out. I did talk to her over the weekend. She's getting along a little bit better, not much mobility, however, and I think she's going to the doctor again on Thursday to reevaluate, maybe get a boot on, which will make her more mobile, and so maybe next week we'll see her, maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll see her. We don't know yet, but it's hard when you're not mobile today, and today's show is really going to be about movement, so kind of apropos. I'd like to remind you first, of course, to pick up our Health Signals newsletter. I have the new one out here at number 5 for the year, and it starts talking about the Himalayan sea salt and really talks about a lot of things that are missing out of our modern day living that we need to incorporate in our life again. And, of course, we want you to pick up the Primal Edge. Our one-shot wonder, $89, gets it to your door every single month, so you be sure that you get the healthiest possible start to your day. We have over 310 organic, cell-ready liquid ingredients, all there to make you healthy, and of course, powered by fulvic and humic acid, which let the good stuff in and take the bad stuff out of you. So that's the deal. Of course, the Health Signals newsletter comes out on the 1st and the 15th of every month, and it follows the show. So if you want to follow what I'm talking about and dig into some of those articles that I dig in and kind of make up your own mind, I think that's the best way to do it. Pick it up, $5 for each issue on the 1st and the 15th of each month. So today I want to talk about movement, and when we think of movement, I think most of us probably think of exercise right away. That's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. But movement is a lot more than exercise, even if we include physical activity, which makes me think of a little bit more movement than just exercise. I would say we're talking about recreational sports, things that we do every day that will kind of enhance our life. This is kind of the way we look at movement. Movement is very good for us. And I kind of look at it like nutrition too, because there's a lot of things missing these days in nutrition. And likewise, if we look at how we evolved as human beings on this planet for thousands of years, we had a lot of movement. We were primitive people, we were hunter and gatherers, and that in itself meant movement. We really didn't probably have a lot of structure to even where we lived, because we moved with the food. We moved with the animals. We moved to locations where there were natural plants and things like that. I don't think primitive man would naturally move out to a desert the way we are in a lot of countries where we have people living in the desert, and even we're transforming the desert to something that we want. But movement has been really part of our lives, and for me personally, it really started with the morning walks that my parents always did. And later in life, it turned out to be afternoon walks. I remember very vividly a lot of times going up to my grandparents' home in North Holland and going for a walk with my grandfather. Those were really special moments because as we were walking, we were always discovering things. And I remember later on when we moved to Canada, the first town we were in was a place called Chatham. And we didn't live too far from where the Iceman was. And the Iceman in those days was a guy who had a big storage of ice. And right nearby he had horses because the ice cart was being pulled by horses, a lot of sawdust around. And when there's a lot of sawdust around, then you have places where animals and creatures like rats and mice are. And when there's rats and mice around, there's always snakes. And my dad was always fascinated with snakes. And this is part of the education that we used to walk down to where the ice thing was, and then we'd find the rats, and then we'd find the snakes. And that was always really interesting because my dad was always teaching me what kind of snake is this, will it hurt you, how to handle the snake. He did the same thing with mushrooms. He was very big into the natural world, so he had books on mushrooms, and we'd go out in the woods and find the fungi, and he'd identify it and tell me, you know, this is one you can eat, this one isn't, and how to recognize those things. And it was all part of taking that walk. So in early life, walking was a big part of my life, and as we went through life with the changes in our community and in our social structure, we are walking less and less, even though my parents, even till almost the day they died, were walking together in the afternoon here in Florida. One of my very fond memories that they were always talking about, that they needed that walk because this is what centered them. But movement is a lot more than just exercise. If we look at the whole picture of movement, exercise is probably just like if we take movement as like a big, I have a table here that's about maybe 3 feet across. And if we say this is all the movement, probably this mouse that I have here in my hand is exercise. That's how small part of the life. But in our modern world, when we think of movement, we think of strict exercise, and that's really one small fracture. In fact, I would say there's also a lot of things that happen to you when you exercise. You become looking like the exercise that you're doing. If you're a runner, you pretty much look like every other runner. If you're going to CrossFit, you're going to start looking like those people from CrossFit. If you're a gymnast, you have a certain way of looking. So every type of sport or every type of activity that we get into changes us a little bit. So the question is, do you exercise? And if so, have you ever considered the fact that our distant ancestors probably didn't exercise at all? Natural living human beings of the past didn't need to exercise because their day-to-day lifestyle likely included enough natural movement to keep them fit and healthy. They also managed to avoid so many of the chronic health problems and dysfunctional type of physical limitations that we now face as a civilization. If you look at our civilization right now in the United States, and I see a lot of people coming in for physical therapy, and they pretty much have the same thing. It's a knee replacement, it's a hip replacement, it's problems with the psoas, problems with the piriformis, certain muscles that are involved in our movement. So when I get back, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this and see if we can explore how we can get movement into your life, more than just exercise. And during the break, please take a look at our Primal Edge. It's on the front page of TFNN.com, so take a look at that, and I'll be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And welcome back to the show. We're talking about movement today. This is probably something Paige is really looking forward to, that she can get back and do the movements that she always did. And being sedentary, being forced that way with a broken ankle, that's no fun. So we wish her a lot of luck in her recovery. So one of the things that when we think about movement, again, first thing pops into our mind, of course, is exercise and how to fit that in. And if we say that out of our day or out of our week, we would take an hour out and exercise an hour. So out of the 7 days, we got 7 hours of the whole. I mean, we got 24 hours in each day, and we're going to exercise for 1 hour. Out of that, we're going to sleep for 8 hours. And then we have another 16 left. We take that 1 hour out of that we got 15 hours of leisure time left, or working time, or whatever time we want. But that's not the way our ancestors looked at it. Our ancestors were active probably 8 hours a day, and probably got more rest than we do today. And that's the real killer there, both sides of the coin. They moved because they had to, and this is the way we evolved, and this is the way our body works. So if we start not moving certain things, and it can be something really small too, folks. It can be shoes. You know, shoes were invented back in about the 1700s. We think that the first structure where they actually made a frame and then built the shoe around that. Before, it was something that we just wrapped around most of the time. But as the Industrial Revolution came about, we started changing the way we walk because of the shoes. They're much more confined. So those toes that we're doing when we normally walk in a natural environment barefoot, is the toes that our fingers are touching, feeling, making sure that where we step is okay to step. Of course, we lose that ability when we put shoes on. We're no longer searching, and also what happened during that time in the 1700s, more and more people were living in cities for the safety reason, okay? Much more safe when you have a lot of people around you, but now you're walking the streets. And before, where we were putting the toes down first and the middle part of the foot and then the heel at the very last, Now we're just walking with the heel hitting because we're really confident that we're pretty safe. We don't have to be stealthy and look around and see if there's potential dangers in a natural world. Here we're now in an unnatural world in a city, and we feel safe, so we're more compliant with things, so we walk completely differently, and that's just one example. But our ancestors really moved 8 hours a day. 1/3 of their life was movement. And when we talk about movement, we're not just talking about the exercise movements or just walking, but anything can be movement. You know, brushing your teeth is movement. Getting the hair standing on end is moving. When something startles you, when you get goosebumps and you get a chill, those are all movements, natural movements to the body. But you know, we're so shut off now when, I mean, the air conditioning doesn't come on. We realize it right away. We want the temperature at 72 or 74 or 78 or wherever you keep it. We want that comfort level. We don't want those swings. When what's really good for us, cold is really good for us. The heat is really good for us. Living in a natural world where the sun goes up and down and it's daylight and it's dark, those things are what's good for us. And these are the things that we lost. So if we look at our modern life, it's not just movement. There's so much more. But because we're talking about movement today, I think we've really devolved in our current lifestyle, very sedentary. Most of us have worked hard to eliminate and outsource as much movement as possible. How do we outsource movement? Well, we use mechanical things like cars and bicycles and things, even bicycles. Good movement. I mean, you're getting your exercise and things, but if exercise on a bike, or even worse, on a stationary bike, is the only thing you do, your body's going to adapt to that bike. It's not as natural as, let's say, walking. But of course, we want to cross-train. We want to do many, many various things, and that's what our ancestors did. Even just walking on a hill, when you're walking uphill or downhill, changes your gait. We want flat surfaces, so we're always looking for that. When you're on your treadmill, do you make your treadmill go up and down? Do you set your treadmill outside, perhaps? These are things that, you know, you can change. We have come to the point that our normal body movement is so limited that we even take breaks from our daily routines to squeeze in a lot of time to move around. And this moving around is what we call exercise. And beyond exercise, we call physical activity. Where we're playing a sport, you're going out, play a little tennis with your friends, or a little basketball, or maybe going for that walk with your pal, and that's a good way to start the day. Grab your friend, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and go out the door and take that walk. Very, very healthy. It gets you out of the house. It gets you to breathe some fresh air, hopefully, where you are, fresh air. Maybe you have some green space around you, or maybe you live in the country and you're blessed, where you can go out and wild. And when I think about walking, I really think about the trips that I take out to the wild. When I go out to Colorado and see my friend Mark, and we spend 8 or 10 hours climbing a mountain, just rambling through the woods, not on a trail, blazing our own trail. These are things that are so compelling to me. They kind of pull me in, and when I'm out there, even though I ache and everything like that, I mean, you have to keep moving. That's the thing. You go out there, you have to go and you have to come back, or you might take the big circle, but you have to keep going because this is not where we live anymore. So taking those huge, huge hikes are just so inspiring to me. One of the people I've been following lately is Katie Bowman, I should say. And she's really a revolutionary as far as what we talk about movement and fitness and physical therapy and things like that. She really talks about building habits of functional movement into our regular activities without having to make special appointments at a gym or a trainer. And she wants to reframe ourselves so we think about movement completely different. It's, you know, we have standing desks these days. It'd be a nice thing here, I think, standing, because I think that gives you a different energy. So if you're being interviewed and you're standing, you're moving around a little bit more, shifting from side to side. Another good thing that she talks about, and her website is called, I don't have it right now, but I think it's called Natural Movement, but I'll get it for you. And it's something that you really need to look at. Of course, I'm going to be placing this into the Health Signals newsletter. the next one. So if there's a way to build functional movement into a regular activity without having to make special appointments at a gym or a trainer, it can be as easily as sitting on the floor. Because when you sit on the floor, the surface is hard, and you find that you're going to squirm around a little bit, especially in the beginning. You'll sit one way, and then you'll shift and sit another way. And these types of situations are much, much better. When you're sitting on the couch, you're getting kind of comfortable, you don't move around a lot. If you sit on the floor, you find yourself moving around a lot. So that, in the first place, is different. And think about this, folks. Most of the world still lives on the floor. We have chairs in modern society. In most of the world, they don't. And they probably choose not to. And there's probably a good reason for that. We'll talk about that when we get back. So stick around, folks. I'll be right back. Meanwhile, please pick up the Living a Primal Lifestyle Health Signals newsletter. It comes twice a month on the 1st and 15th of every month, and I'll have one brand new coming up on the 15th. So I'll be right back.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. The TAS Profile Scanner is the most revolutionary piece of trading software that you will ever try. Wouldn't you like to approach the markets with confidence? As you begin your trading day, it's likely that you'll be faced with lots of decisions. In order to make the best decision, the first thing you'll need is a strategy that will help you minimize your risks. Whether we're in a bull or bear market, a good strategy is to have the tools needed to help you scan and analyze the markets before you trade. The TAS Profile Scanner instantly scans and filters over 2,500 global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, president of TAS Market Profile, the TAS Profile Scanner understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications, automated trading algorithms, and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. Whether you're looking at the trade matrix, the ETF heat grid, the market breadth, the landscape charts, or the many other features of the TAS Profile Scanner, this is a piece of software that will revolutionize how you look at the markets and set up your trades. The team at TAS has even put together a 12-part video series to walk you through every aspect of the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find directly on the TAS order page at tfnn.com. Sign up now for only $97 a month with a risk-free 30-day trial, so you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. See for yourself how you can harness the full power of the TAS Profile Scanner by visiting the front page of tfnn.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services section. Remember, with a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Don't let another day pass you by without trying out this amazing piece of software that will revolutionize how you look at the market and how you place trades. Sign up today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show. That website is called Nutritious Movement, and her name is Katie Bowman. And she has a lot of good information on here. And you can find a lot of interviews also on YouTube. And I think you'll find it really interesting because she really thinks about movement as a completely different thing than exercise and as physical therapy. She thinks about movement as something that is inherent to us that we need to do and that we're really deficient in it in our modern life. Of course, we're deficient in a lot of things. We don't have natural light. We don't walk much anymore. I guess as a personal trainer, I could say that you walk into my studio and you want an hour workout, and I could give you a nice list of things I want at the grocery store, and the grocery store is about 2 miles away. And I could say, okay, here's a couple of bags. Why don't you go down to Publix and get these items for me and then carry them back? You would think I'm crazy, but that's a heck of a good workout. And these are things that we don't do. You know, we're going to the grocery store, we're driving there, we got a cart, we're not carrying anything. A lot of times you'll get people to even take it out to your car for you. You go home, you put it in the refrigerator and into your closets and things like that, and that's the only really movement part of it, getting it out of the car. But the whole trip and I remember going to the store with my mother every Saturday. My mother and my sister and I would walk a few miles. I don't remember exactly how far it was. And being a kid, it seemed a lot farther probably. And I probably complained here and there about it. But those are nice, now, fond memories of me for quite a few years before we had a car in the 50s when we moved to that little town in southern Ontario, that we actually walked to the store, and my mother needed us to help carry all the groceries because in those days we did it just once a week, and most of the stuff was fresh, not so much boxes anymore. So you know, we had to carry these things back, and it was part of the routine that we did every Saturday. I can think of many different types of things like that we walked and walked and walked. I grew up walking even when I was in high school in Canada, going to high school. I remember walking. There was one time that we moved far away where there was a bus, but I even rode the bike a few times in high school that first year, and I kind of stopped using the bike because of the ridicule from kids. You know, even a couple of the kids were, of course, driven by their parents, and a lot of kids walk. That's mostly what we did. But if you rode a bike, then yeah, as you get older in high school, that's not the thing you do anymore, I suppose. And that's, you know, so I bent into that and took the bus quite a bit. But I remember walking. I remember walking miles and miles and miles, going to my girlfriend's house. I'd walk there. I wouldn't even take the bus because I enjoyed walking. I guess that's part of my DNA, and I think it's really part of all of our DNA. So shoes are one of the things, but even just normal clothing. I mean, I think guys have it easy, you know. We just have to worry about the necktie and stuff like that, and that really confines you, you know. Imagine having something around your neck that can choke you, and we think this is fashionable and correct. I mean, in the native world, you'd never think about putting something around your neck, and it's the best way to injure yourself out in the wild, that's for sure. Other things, we have other clothing, but when I think of clothing and problems, I think of women's clothing. Of course, the bra is one thing. Now you're being held up artificially by something that your muscles would naturally do. The other thing is the high heels, of course, something that is done specifically for fashion, maybe for sexual look, because it makes your legs and your butt look different. But I really prefer the low heels. I prefer, in fact, I remember back in the 60s when I was going to college, they brought out these earth shoes. Remember those things where the heel was a little bit lower? And the idea was when we put our foot in the sand, of course the heel sinks down a little bit, and this is why they designed the shoes that way. Of course, they were still designed not minimally like they are today. Today we have the minimalist types of shoes, and I have quite a few pairs of those. Some with the toes in, some not with the toes out, but these things let you feel the earth. I think that's an important thing. Walking barefoot, when I get home, the first thing I do, I take my clothes off, I take my shoes off, socks off, I put on some really comfortable, usually pajama-like or yoga clothes, that type of thing, and I go barefoot. And I go barefoot inside, outside. I try to go barefoot as much as possible. This has really helped me from the abuse that I took while I was running for 30 years. It was a slow process, but after running for 30 years, my knees started having problems, and I started really looking for solutions, even maybe 10 years before. Tried orthotics, tried different things, but the confinement of the shoe was really the problem. And having that artificial heel in running shoes, where Dr. Nike, who invented most of these modern types of shoes, decided that because we struck our heel first in walking, that was the correct way to run. Well, he was wrong about striking our heel, because that's kind of a modern thing that we developed because of shoes. Before that, we always put our forefoot and our toes were there first to feel the ground. So we changed the way we walk simply by confining. So we also change the way we move because of the confining of high heels and of bras and neckties and suits and tight clothes, skinny jeans. All these things restrict your movement, when movement is really about liberating ourselves so we can move better. One of the pulls for me in jiu-jitsu, one of the great martial arts that I take, is the movement, the rolling around, the remembrance. When I was 10 years old, remember when you were 10 years old, you could just about do anything. You fall off your bike, no big deal. A scrape here, a scrape there, no problem. Rolling around, having dirt on our fingers, digging through the soil, getting your imagination going, being out in the wild where your eyes are really keen. You see far, you see close, you see different flickers of light. Our eyes probably have been going downhill because we're not living in that world anymore. We're looking at screens. We're looking at a wall. We don't see very far. We're not used to this. Our eyes out in the forest just go crazy looking at different things, and it's an amazing thing when you're out in the woods. You can look at things and you can see, is that what I think it is? Is this not what I think it is? And you're very inquisitive, so you want to look and you want to see what you're looking at, and you want it to make sense to you, so you inquire, you go in and investigate. Being out in the woods is probably the greatest thing you can do for your health. Not just movement-wise, but just because you breathe the air, you're in touch with nature, you're grounding yourself. And guys experience some things. We are much more likely to go out and pee or poo in the woods than a woman is, because we can stand up when we pee. And just the connection with the earth while that's happening is a completely different experience than if you're peeing down a toilet. Pooing out in the woods, I haven't done too much of that, but I have done it on occasion, and that's, I think, a neat experience. Of course, it puts you in a situation where you have to use our old movements. You have to go into squatting position to poo, our natural position. So we'll talk about that a little bit when we get back. I would like to remind you, of course, please pick up our Primal Edge. If you want something that's just one shot that's going to make you healthy, you're not going to worry about it anymore. You just take that one shot in the morning, and this is it, folks. All powered by fulvic and humic acids. Something you should investigate, because this is the thing that makes it healthy and brings it in your body and detoxes you. I'll be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionics, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the X XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And welcome back. So we're talking about the going to the bathroom in a natural way would be squatting down. And of course, I have one of these squatty potties around the toilet, and that makes it almost pretty natural. I remember one time in Holland, I was still 6 or 7 years old and went into this one place. I think it was one of my uncles. He had a bicycle shop, and I had to go to the bathroom there. And he didn't have a traditional toilet. It was an old building in downtown The Hague someplace. And when I went to the bathroom there, it was just a hole in the ground, a porcelain hole. So you had to squat, or you had to aim real good when you're a kid. It's a lot easier, a little closer to the ground. But so the thing with going to the bathroom in a squatted position lines up the tubes. Gravity helps, and everything is a straight shot down. Now, when you sit on a toilet, like on a throne, then now everything is bent in a way. So now gravity can't really help you, so you have to exert a little bit, and then as you get used to exerting, you exert more and more, and then it becomes a problem. So, and that's just one example. Shoes are another example. Bras, of course, I don't wear a bra. I don't have that experience, but I can only imagine. I mean, if I put on a bra, it'd be, besides looking very silly, it would be feeling very weird, that's for sure. Another thing she mentions, Katie Bowman, is children rearing. You know, we are not really connected with our children like our ancient ancestors. We push them around in carts, or if we even carry them, we carry them in some kind of garment or some type of device. And her suggestion is you really want to be in tune with your child and get a workout at the same time, have that kid on top of you. In other words, clinging to you. If you've ever watched a gorilla baby or a chimpanzee baby, they're hanging on. Yes, the mother is supporting her, but they're hanging on also. And she suggested that's the way she brought up her children. She also made them go barefoot when they're going for walks. And an interesting thing, too, she takes her kids for walks an hour a day. And that's maybe only going a mile. The kids are 2 or 4 years old. So, you know, the smaller they are, the smaller the steps. But she's even got a video of her youngest son, his first walk. And when they say for a walk, they go into the wild naturally, and barefoot. And you see him just having a ball, la, 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 singing, going, and the weeds are as tall as he is. It's a great video. I'll be putting that in the House of newsletter. So historically, movement has been the conduit for life. We've moved to get what we need: food, water, shelter, safety, community. It's only relatively recently that we've removed the environments that make movement necessary, and lockstep, the movements themselves. Once you recognize that every task you do daily, getting to work or school, dealing with clothing, eating, spending time with others, has a more movement-rich equivalent, you have an almost endless list of areas that you can choose to add movement into the fabric of your day-to-day life. So here's some examples that she suggests. I'll put up a little. This is her website here, so you can get to it. So make movement part of the way you gather your food. Start a garden. Even a few spots on a balcony works. Walk to the grocery store and carry your bags of ingredients home in unique ways to diversify parts used and forego all drive thoughts. So in other words, if something is within a mile of your house, make a commitment that you're not going to use your car. You're going to walk there. This is a great way to get some movement into your life, and you'll find it's going to enrich your life even more. When cooking, choose traditional methods of food preparation. Think kneading dough by hand. Of course, in our diet, we don't do much of that. But chopping food with a knife. You know, how many times do you go in the grocery store and you see all those vegetables already chopped for you, already cleaned for you? Whip cream with a fork rather than outsourcing this work to technology. So we've really just, in food, we've really given the table over to these companies that prepare the food for us. So preparing food, the chopping of the food, all these little things are little movements that we do. We don't consider them exercise. They're certainly movements. We take them out, part of us shuts down. The other problem, of course, is we go into hobbies and work that is repetitive movements that causes problems. Knitting, playing piano, playing guitar, doing a certain routine if you're on an assembly line over and over again. Not only does it dull your life, it gives you problems. Some of the areas are overworked, some of the other areas are underworked. So it's not a good balance. She says, instead of plopping in a chair at the end of the day, take a rest on the floor, holding yourself up and arranging your body in different shapes, cycling through them. And this, if you have a home and you take the couches out and you put your TV, or maybe even take the TV out, would probably be a better thing. But you start sitting on the floor, you're going to be movement. There's going to be different positions. In our home, we don't have that situation, but we do have one room that there is a large table. We actually use it as a bed, and it's a training table. So it's got a little bit of give on it because there's a little foam on it, but it's a great place to sit. And last night while I was watching a hockey game and the Lightning defeating Toronto, which is a great game, I was sitting on that, and I was doing a little stretching here, stretching there, moving different positions, getting into yoga position, getting on my knees, doing different things. And because I had just listened to one of her podcasts, it was really fresh in my mind how unique this was and how I do this kind of naturally, but sometimes I just sit in the old chair, you know, and we all do this. Connect with your partner by way of a dinner or a movie is great, but it's also sedentary. You can get more out of a date night by heading out for a date hike. Or if you don't have a few hours to move together in nature, grab some food and go and walk through your urban area. It's a good thing. She says, in my opinion, all humans require nutrient-dense food, abundant movement, fresh air, sunlight, freedom to express their individual natures, and to be considered fully human, fully human. And she says children need to be seen as complete from birth. And this has always been kind of a thing for me too, talking baby talk to kids. I don't talk baby, hey, how you doing? It's talk naturally to the kid. This is how the kids learn. They learn by watching you. They're going to start imitating you. You don't want your child, you know, being more childlike as they grow older. I mean, we have to treat these kids like they're full human beings. And yeah, they're learning, but they're learning from watching us. This is a thing I learned many, many years ago by listening to this old Indian saying, you know, to this Board of Education in Canada. And they were asking him, how do your children learn? You don't have schools, nothing. He says, well, they're with us 24 hours. They watch us, they see us. Everything we do, they see. This is how they learn. Of course, this is how they learn. It's amazing, isn't it? That we forget stuff like that. She says, I decided a long time ago that fractioning my life into separate bits, work, play, parenting, and eating, wasn't ultimately working well for anybody in my family. This is when I decided to apply nature, permaculture principles to how I approach living to get multiple things done at once. I decided to forget the hacks and go with the stacks, and we'll talk about that when we get back, folks. So stick around. I got a little bit more. Please, in the meantime, look at the Health Signals newsletter and pick that up. It's only $10 a month. Our Primal Edge, $89 every single month, and you can count on this being the best thing for you. We'll be right back.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
TFNN has put together the best lineup of live content for traders by traders every market day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected minds in the business. TFNN broadcasts 5 days a week live from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We have live programming every market day during market hours. Every morning, Larry Pesavento kicks off the trading day live at 9 a.m. and breaks down the opening bell with Trade What You See. At 10 a.m., Tom and Tommy O'Brien host the TFNN Bull Bear Trading Hour, followed at 11 a.m. by the team at TD Ameritrade and Thinkorswim with Fast Market. Basil Chapman hosts the Tiger Technicians Hour at noon, Steve Rhodes at 1 p.m. with the Trader's Edge, Dave White at 2 p.m. with the Power Trading Hour, and Tom O'Brien anchors the daily lineup from 3 till 5 as host of the Tom O'Brien Show. Tune in to TFNN's Tiger TV on your computer or mobile device, and you can always find us streaming on YouTube. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Okay, she talks about stacking your life, and a lot of this description of what this is in one of her books called Movement Matters. But essentially it's describing is that she's going to do a few things at once. Like here she's going for a walk and she's carrying a child in kind of a unique way. It looks like on a little stool of some kind. But she has other pictures that show carrying different things. Of course, working in the garden or squatting. She has some examples here going to with her kids walking. You can see they're barefoot here. And here she's sitting on something and she's just changing positions. So this is one of the things on the floor that you can do is you're almost forced to because the pressure is maybe too much. A lot of people have a hard time sitting on the floor because we're not flexible anymore. So sitting on the floor makes you much more flexible. Of course, you have to get up, so it makes you stronger. So what she's doing by stacking is saying, okay, I'm going to sit, but I'm sitting differently. I'm going to use movement in my sitting. And there's a lot of things that she'll do, like going to the grocery store now, where she's going to get some exercise to go to the grocery store. So we really have to look at life a little bit differently because we have lost so much. Work can be a problem for many people because we're sitting down a lot. Even standing up a lot may be a problem. So maybe sitting down for a while, standing up for a while, getting up and walking around, setting that 10-minute timer. We need to get much more movement into our life. If you're lucky enough to be around green space, you know, really, that's the place to be. And if you can go out in the woods, that's the better thing. Another thing that I've been passionate about is crawling. Some of these different movements that people can't do anymore. A lot of people with back problems, if you sit on the floor and you start crawling around, you're going to solve some of these problems. A lot of times people who have lost the ability to move standing up are taken back to the ground and put in crawling situations to reactivate the brain crawling method, because there's a real important part of our genetic makeup when we're crawling as a child. It sets us up for great posture and how to move properly when we finally stand up. A lot of people with ADD and things like that, we take them back to the ground to do those things. So explore Katie Bowman, and I'll put these things into the next newsletter, and I think you'll get a lot out of them, and maybe change the way you think about movement and add more movement into your life is going to definitely enhance your life. Thanks for sticking around, folks. I'll be back next week.